about Bill Clinton. Didn't ask Merrick Garland anything about Epstein, not once when he was.
Weak sauce.
And also, I want the record to reflect that, with this anti-Semitic culture right now, she voted against a resolution condemning.
Oh, is Jewish. I just want to be clear.
Do you want to go there, Attorney General? Do you want to go there? Are you serious? Talking about anti-Semitism to a woman who lost her grandfather in the Holocaust? Really?
The committee will be in order.
Talk to Jared Wise about anti-Semitism.
The ranking member knows that.
Can I get like 30 seconds back?
Yeah, I think the whole committee knows.
That was just one of many tense exchanges yesterday on Capitol Hill as the Attorney General Pam Bondi sparred with members of the House Judiciary Committee. And when she sparred, it was mostly with Democrats. Joining us now, the lawmaker you saw in that clip, Democratic Congresswoman Becca Balint of Vermont. She's the vice-ranking member of the House Judiciary Committee. Talk about that moment. I mean, I think we knew Pam Bondi would come prepared to spar with Democratic members after what she did in the Senate last year. But was this what you prepared for?
No. I certainly didn't prepare to be accused as a Jewish member who had a family member killed in the Holocaust to be accused of anti-Semitism. We prepared for her to have a burn book, for her to be full of insults and not to answer the questions. We prepared for all of that. What is so concerning about this particular moment for me is why did she go there? Why was that the thing that she brought up? And my team and I thought about it a lot last night, and she knew that I had looked at records from Howard Lutnick, who is the Commerce Secretary, and that was my line of questioning, to ask her, has the DOJ interviewed these high-ranking members of the Trump administration about their ties to Epstein? She knew that because they were spying on us. They were surveilling us at the DOJ terminals, the computer terminals, and had printouts for what files we had looked at. And Howard Lutnick is of Jewish descent. And so this is one of the most chilling aspects of what happened yesterday. So not only did she have insults prepared for all of us and not answering the question, and survivors were in the room. They were desperate to get some answers and to be acknowledged. And what she was concerned about was bringing up, based on the dirt, including how we were surveilled at DOJ, to try to discredit us. And the survivors left once again feeling like their government had let them down. And it's heartbreaking.
So let's take this then in two buckets, right? Because I think there's the bucket of trying to discredit you as anti-Semitic because you happen to be looking at files relating to a member of the cabinet who's of Jewish descent, okay? But on the surveillance front, if we stay in that lane for a moment, what does it tell you about a DOJ that opened up these documents 2 days before the Attorney General was coming into the committee? This is something your colleague Pramila Jayapal told me when we spoke on the phone after the hearing. Just, is this the reason they did it, so that the Attorney General could basically do an open book quiz from Democratic members?
That's what we fear. That is absolutely what we feared.
Did they warn you when you went in, like, okay, we're gonna track what you look at?
No.
Okay.
No. They did not say that. And in fact, we had minders in the room, and they kept changing the rules. Like, you can't, they told us we couldn't bring in any printed materials from the files to compare to the files on the screen, which is,
redactions are hard to keep track of. Yeah,
absolutely. Then they told me I couldn't take notes on my printed material. Then they told me I couldn't bring in sticky notes. It just kept changing. And then you got minders in the room making sure you're not using phones, but they had already confiscated our phones, so there was no way we were going to be using phones. And it just goes right to the heart of what we've been saying about this administration all year. They are acting as an authoritarian regime. It is textbook fascism what they are doing. We can't trust what they're saying. There's so much propaganda. And then to know now that they were surveilling us at the Department of Justice, we are a separate branch of government. And I believe even the Speaker of the House said it was inappropriate. So if the Speaker of the House, because he never stands up for what Democrats are doing. So it's shocking. And again, it got in the way of the main story of the day, which is trying to get justice for these people who were sitting there saying to us, at least have the Department of Justice meet with us. They've been asking for a year for Secretary Bondi to meet with them, and then for her not to even turn and acknowledge them was so painful for them.
Yeah, I was talking to some of them outside yesterday after the hearing, and it just felt like their experiences were being invalidated. And so I wonder, as they promise that they're going to keep pushing ahead for transparency, what does that look like? And how can Congress do more than what it's already done, which is literally pass a law saying you have to be transparent when it comes to this?
So we're going to push for the release of the 3 million documents they're still holding on to. Their excuses for not releasing them are absurd, saying they're duplicative. Well, let us decide. Let us decide what's in there. And also, they have to comply with the law. So the law doesn't say you get to release some and not others. And in terms of other steps, like, they were really clear with us, the survivors, that this hearing was one piece of what it is that they want from us as members of Congress. The other is to pass laws to make sure this does not happen again. So really looking at laws that center the survivors, looking at laws that really can put an end to sex trafficking in this country and sexual abuse. And also, they want to have hearings in which they are able to fully tell their stories and explain to Americans how sex trafficking works, how people are groomed, because there is so much misunderstanding about what these young girls went through in terms of the way in which this was a highly orchestrated machine of abuse and trafficking.
Yeah, and I think that for so many of these women, there's also the onus of bringing pictures of them when they were girls, when this all first happened to them, to remind people, A, just how much time has passed.
Yes.
But B, the fact that they were in their teens when this happened to them.
Absolutely. And I have a 15-year-old daughter. And through that entire hearing yesterday, I just kept thinking about, as a mom, there is nothing more important to us than our children. And I think Americans across the country, regardless of party, can understand that. And to see the Attorney General not showing even basic compassion for them and not being willing to turn to them and saying, I am sorry the Department of Justice released your personal private information and nude photos of you and essentially traumatized you again. And she couldn't even do that.
Yeah, I do think, and Lisa Rubin and I started the show talking about this, I do think that there could have been a world where both things were true. Bondi could have come in and defended her agency's handling of the documents and also taken the human approach of saying, and as someone who has prosecuted these kinds of crimes before, I'm so sorry for what you've gone through. But I think there is this missing link, and it's been true the whole week when it's DHS officials talking about the shooting killings of Alex Preddy and Renee Good, all the way through the Attorney General yesterday. There's this like morality gap that they can't yet close, and I'm not sure where the missing link really is, because politics as usual has left space for that.
Absolutely. There is a morality gap, and the inability of this administration to ever admit that they have made a mistake and wronged Americans is deeply disturbing. And I don't think that's what Americans want.
Yeah, I also think our country has capacity for forgiveness when it's asked for that. So,
absolutely.
Democratic Congresswoman Becca Balint of Vermont, I know we always talk to you.
First, you showed it. I find it.
How many have you indicted?
Excuse me. I'm going to answer the question.
Answer my question.
No, I'm going to answer the question the way I want to answer the question.
No, you're going to answer the question the way I asked it.
You can let her filibuster all day long, but not on our watch. Not on our time. No way. And I told you about that, Attorney General, before you started.
You don't tell me.
Yeah, I did tell you, because we saw what you did in the Senate.
You're a lawyer, not even a lawyer.
I'm going to teach you the rules again. You're the Attorney General of the United States. We have rules here.
You're obsessed with him.
You're the Attorney General of the United States.
With
the rules.
Obsessed with Donald Trump. You have Trump derangement syndrome.
That's just one of the many contentious exchanges yesterday.
It's just childlike. I've got to say, there was an Atlantic piece a couple weeks ago asking what happened to Pam Bondi. I mean, a lot of people in Florida that worked with her liked her very much, that respected her. And this Atlantic piece really goes through all of it. And we're going to get to just the humiliation that she allowed herself to be a part of yesterday. Just really one of the saddest, most pitiful, just cringe-inducing performances in Capitol Hill history. I've been around for quite a while. But old friends of Pam Bondi's, and I've known Pam for a very long time. As one person said, who said they knew and loved Pam Bondi, said to a reporter, we're all asking what the F happened to Pam. There's another one who said she's tried to forgive her. She's tried to look past it. She's tried. And her quote is, she went cheap for power. Was it worth it, Pam? Was it really worth it? And yesterday was just the low light of it was when she was being asked.
There's so many.
There's so many. But for me, and I think for a lot of observers, the low light was she was asked, are you going to start protecting these women who were raped as young girls? Are you going to start arresting the men, the powerful and rich men who you're protecting right now, who raped these young girls? And she responded by saying, didn't talk about the raped girls, didn't talk about the rich and powerful men who were evading justice because of her and because of this administration. She said, what we really should be talking about, not the raped girls, not the rich and powerful men, but what we should really be talking about is the Dow Industrial. You cannot make that up. That is so offensive, so repulsive that anybody would actually say that. But there it was. That times 20 throughout the day yesterday. And I've got to say, as somebody that has known her for a long time, I just feel sorry for her. And I ask the same question her friends are asking. Is it really worth it? What is worth doing that to yourself and your reputation and your country? And this, Willie, of course, comes on the heels of her. And this is one of those Rubicon moments that we have every day. But here's another Rubicon moment.
Yeah.
Trying to charge 6 United States senators for exercising their First Amendment rights and simply restating military law, simply restating what Pete Hegseth had said before, simply restating what Pam Bondi had said the year before in a court filing about service people breaking the law. But she lets it move forward without thinking. That continues, Willie.
Yeah, and a grand jury rejected that argument a couple of days ago in federal court in Washington. But, I mean, you're right. It's a question we have asked and could ask about so many people over the last decade or so. Has it been worth it? Was it worth it to give up everything you said you stood for, everything you did stand for in many cases, to be close to power? And you're right. I mean, the insults, the talking points, the performative outrage that we saw from the Attorney General were all outrageous and ridiculous, but what they mask is the fact that she would not answer any questions about the Epstein files, which raises the question, and again, I don't know why they're doing all of this, raises the question of who she, the Attorney General, is protecting and why she is protecting that person or those people. Not answering basic yes or no questions about indictments, facts inside the Epstein files, redactions in the Epstein files. Wouldn't answer them, instead went to her notes and attacked the person asking the question, including, as you pointed out, this is the moment Pam Bondi, the Attorney General of the United States, responded to a question from New York Congressman Jerry Nadler, asked her about how many of Epstein's co-conspirators have been indicted. Here's how she responded.
None of them asked Merrick Garland over the last 4 years one word about Jeffrey Epstein. How ironic is that? You know why? Because Donald Trump, the Dow right now is over, the Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing.
It's the Attorney General of the United States
we're laughing
about the rape of teenage girls, Joe.
Yeah, we're laughing because she's making a fool of herself.
Complete fool of herself.
Like she actually thinks.
So brutally obvious.
She actually thinks that everybody's a 5-year-old in that room.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's exposed, making a fool of herself. The question is about young girls who have been raped, not about the S&P 500, The question is about people all around Donald Trump. I could list the names, those in government, those in his family, those around him that are all over the Epstein files. All over the Epstein files. And yet the richest and the most powerful among them, the people, the Epstein class who is running this government, is still being protected by Pam Bondi. Her binders full of information? Yeah, nothing was in that. And now they're desperately trying to continue to keep this from the American people. Who is in the Epstein class that they are trying to protect? You got a Commerce Secretary who's been caught lying through his teeth, saying that he stopped seeing Epstein in 2005. He took his family to Rape Island like 7 years later. He lived next door to the guy. But nothing happens. Nothing happens. And by the way, this is a Republican issue. This was a MAGA issue.
It was.
This is what all of them, the FBI director, Pam Bondi, everybody was talking about the Epstein files. The Epstein files. When we're in charge, we're going to get rid of, all of the hidden rapists and all of the hidden pedophiles out there who are in powerful positions. Instead, it's a cover-up. They keep covering up, and it's not just the Democrats on the committee saying it. Thomas Massey of Kentucky, who, by the way, Thomas Massey of Kentucky is saying the same thing now. The Kash Patel and Pam Bondi and all these other MAGA supporters were saying before the election, before they had the power to actually release the Epstein files. Now that they have that power, it looks like a cover-up. So Massey, of course, co-sponsored the discharge petition for the release of the Epstein files. And this is what the Republican had to say to Pam Bondi yesterday.
Are you able to track who in your organization made this massive failure and released the victims' names? Are you able to track who it was that obscured Les Wexner's name as a co-conspirator in an FBI document? Do you have that kind of accountability?
I believe Wexner's name was listed more than 4,000 times.
Yeah, I already told you that. This is where he's listed as a co-conspirator.
Can I finish my answer? Come on, let me finish my answer. We corrected that within 40 minutes. He was already, you're acting like everybody's trying to cover up Wexner's name.
Reclaiming my time.
I'm going to answer this question.
Reclaiming my time. Mr. Chairman.
This is how this works.
Can I have my time back? Mr. Chairman.
The gentlelady can give her answer. The time belongs to the gentleman from Kentucky.
All right, I'm reclaiming my time.
Can I give my answer?
So I'm going to put the language of the bill up on the screen.
Chairman, may I give my answer on that? It's a political joke, and I need to give my answer on that.
We'll let the Attorney General respond, and then the gentleman can move to his next question.
It's my time.
Within 40 minutes, you asked me a question. Within 40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes of me catching you red-handed.
There was one redaction out of over 4,700, and we invited you in. This guy has Trump derangement syndrome. He needs to get. You're a failed politician. You need to get on these matters.
Mr. Chairman, please restore his time and remind the witness of the rules here.
There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals.
Is that your position as well?
My position is any victim who comes forward, of course, we would love to hear from them. 1-800-CALL-FBI. Did you ask Merrick Garland that the last 4 years? Did you talk about Epstein?
I'm reclaiming my time. I'm glad you're asking about Merrick Garland.
You don't get to reclaim time
this is bigger than Watergate.
When I don't answer a question the way you want.
This goes over 4 administrations. You don't have to go back to Biden. Let's go back to Obama. Let's go back to George Bush. This cover-up spans decades, and you are responsible for this portion of it.
Yeah, the cover-up spans decades.
Basically the face of it.
She thinks she's now the face of the cover-up for this administration, and she can keep trying to talk over people. But that doesn't obscure the fact that she's part of a huge cover-up.
It was a very helpful display.
There's all these redactions. It took them forever to do it. She wouldn't even let him read. Think about this. She would not even let him read the law. She started into her petty little insults because she did not want a United States congressman to read the law that passed the House of Representatives 427 to 1. And she said she was ready to hear from the victims. No, the victims stood up. And she refused to turn around and even look at them. Let me say that again. The victims, there were many victims who were there. And Pam Bondi refused to turn around and even look at them. Instead, she comes with these literally 5-year-old insults. If I'm that, what does that make you? Basically, is it a failed lawyer or burned out whatever or Trump derangement? No. Those that have Trump derangement syndrome are those who've basically thrown all of their professional careers overboard because they're so deranged at trying to get into the good graces of Donald Trump that they will literally ignore child rape victims when they're right behind them.
So if we could put that shot up where it's Bondi, 2-shot with the victims. I just think it's interesting because here was her moment on the national stage as the Attorney General of the United States, to be a woman who stands up for other women.
She won't turn around.
She decided to turn her back on victims of repeated sexual abuse, some of them at the time in their lives when they were children. That right there is who Pam Bondi is now. And I mean, for Republicans who remain silent, who continue to follow in these footsteps, it's going to get harder, as you could see yesterday. As you could see yesterday, it's getting harder to do what you do because it looks terrible. It looks so obvious. It looks so brutally obvious that you are not working for the American people at all.
Are working for these women who, as young girls, were trafficked, were abused, were molested, were passed around.
I just can't believe as a woman she would put herself in that position.
And so now we have the image of her turning her back on child rape victims. And she's doing it literally and in her